To set up Instanet Templates, which is also known as transaction desk now, you're going to head over here to this little icon that says templates. If you click on that, you can then say transaction templates. And sometimes some brokers have templates already put in there, so you might see that. If we TC or help you with listing docs, you might see our listing docs. But basically, you'll go over here and say add. You can say RE21 offer docs or buyer docs, however you want it to be. You can choose if you want residential sale. It doesn't really matter what you choose there, and hit save. Then what you're going to do is you're going to go down here to the forms and say add. And if you want to put in the rep and agency and maybe even the RE5 right now, you can. Otherwise, the main things that you probably want to add is an RE21, maybe a counteroffer, and maybe an addendum. So you can add all those, and that will kind of just be the template. But the main thing that you're going to do is set up this RE21 right here. So you're going to click on this, and then you're going to go through and set up your RE21 for all the information that you have every single time. So in instance, if you're the one writing the offer, you're going to have your information here as the selling brokerage and selling agent and email and phone number, and have all of that there. The buyer, you'll leave blank, and same with the address, because that changes per obviously each buyer and property that you're making an offer on, as well as purchase price. But if you know that you pretty much always do that, your buyer is going to wire and that title is going to hold it, and it's going to be within 3 business days, and upon receipt and acceptance, fill that in. Also, your broker is probably not going to change, so you can fill in your broker here. And then if you, like 99% of the time you're doing loans for your offers, just fill that in as best as you can right here. And then just know that if you change to cash, you'll just delete that out and change to cash. But basically just go through this. And this part doesn't take 2 minutes to write an offer, obviously. This is what it takes a little bit of time to get it set up. But you'll go through and get this all set up and fill every little thing in. If you know that you always say seller's personal belongings, put that in excluded. If you know that you always say 6 business days and seller provides the title commitment, whatever it may be, just go through the RE21 really, really closely to fill it all in for things that you always leave to be the same, no matter who the buyer is or the property or things like that. Then once you have it all set up, the way to make this work for you is you're going to go to your home screen and you're going to say add. I still use the old system. And then you'll say, like, this is for 12345 Main Street, buyer Smith. And you'll say template. And this is where you'll say RE20, whatever you named your template. And then import data. This is also really important. So if you're making an offer, if you choose MLS and you put the MLS number right here, it's going to pull in the MLS information. So for instance, let's just grab a random, we'll just grab a random property. Okay, so you can pull in the MLS number here, and you're going to be the selling agent, and you can use the wizard or not. I personally don't like it, so I do that, and then say create. And what it's going to do is it's going to pull in the address, the legal, all the information from this. It will probably also pull in the included and excluded, I believe. It's going to pull all that information in to here. You do need to be careful because it's going to put in like the purchase price, whatever it's listed for. So there's a few things you'll need to ultimately change, but it's pulling all of that stuff in. And then you'll go over here and say contacts and put in the correct contact. So it should have you as the selling agent because you're in your Instanet. It currently has the other selling agent because this was an old listing. But then you can add your client. So you'd say add them as create new transaction contact and add them as a buyer. If you have 2, you do them separately. Then you would go to your forms and click on this, and it will have majority of it filled out because it's going to use your template that you created that you had. Remember how we said, I always do a wire and closing company in 3. Look, it has it right there. And if you would have filled out the broker, it would have had it. So it has all that. Then it now has the address, the legal, the listing brokerage. Once you would have added your buyers as contacts, it would put them right here. And it fills out like 95% of this offer. I still always recommend, of course, to go through with very, very closely and make sure you've got everything. You need to go in and add ID number, date, things like that, and just go line by line. But it is so much faster than recreating an offer every single time. So if you're not using Instanet templates, I highly recommend that you time block an hour out of your time to go set this up. The RE21 is super powerful. There's also amazing templates that you can use for your listing docs. So if you're an agent who does a lot of listings, you can get your listing docs prepped and set up. So your RE16 rep agreement, your coming soon disclosures, your MLS data forms, all of that can be all set up. So you don't have to add each form for each transaction, and they're already filled out to a decent amount. And so, yeah, we'll have a future video that talks a little bit more about that, but hopefully this helps you for now. Thanks so much. Bye.